Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Lynsee. This is my world. First things first, if you're new to the channel and you've never been here before, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you're already a subscriber, have my notifications turned on. That way you never miss a video from your girl. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of a different type of video. I realized that over time I have made so many different videos, and I wanted to kind of share like more of who I am, because I feel like you guys don't really know anything about my life or my story. I don't really share a lot of personal information on my YouTube channel or my social networks, and I figured I have a bit of a story to tell, so I want to put it out there. This is something that I have debated filming so many different times for years, and I don't know if I was just like slightly ashamed to tell my story or what exactly it was. I just never really wanted to put it out there. So I'm gonna break this up into a series just because I don't want it to be too lengthy and you guys get bored of hearing me talk. So this video is going to be about me being adopted. Some of you might already be able to figure that out, being that I've said in other videos that I grew up in Wisconsin, which whenever I tell people that, they're like, what? How did you end up in Wisconsin? So let me just get into this. I was born in a town in South Korea, and I was then put up for adoption, and on my paperwork that was sent along with me after I was adopted, it basically just states that my mother and father couldn't take care of me, or they felt like they didn't really have the means to be able to raise me, so they wanted me to be with a great family who would be able to take care of me the way that I should be. So they put me up for adoption, and I was about 6 months when I came over to the States. But before that, I had a foster mother who took care of me, and I actually have a picture of her. So I was never really sent any photos of my biological parents, so I don't really know what they look like, but I do have a picture of my foster mother. And the orphanage that I was in there was Eastern Child Welfare Society. That was the organization that I was adopted through. When I was 6 months, I was adopted by my parents now, who lived in Wisconsin at the time. They actually still live there. I was then put on a plane with other Korean babies who were adopted. Each baby kind of has like somebody who escorts them from Korea to Wisconsin. So then I was delivered to my parents now, and I grew up in a happy home. I had amazing parents who loved me and took very good care of me. What I've heard is that now when you adopt from an Asian country, the adoptive parents are supposed to spend like 2 or 3 weeks there to just kind of like absorb the culture before they actually bring the child over to the States, which I love that concept, and I think that any adoptive parents should really try to dive into the culture, just so growing up the child isn't, kind of confused. I didn't really understand being Korean. I knew that I was adopted from Korea, but I never really thought too much about it. And I feel like that would have been something really great to kind of, dive into and understand as a child growing up in a primarily white home. So let me backtrack a little bit. My parents adopted me, and then they also adopted my older brother. He's 3 years older than me, and he was adopted from another city in Wisconsin. I feel like growing up, I went to a pretty small school, so there weren't that many people in my school, and I was the only minority. So it was a little odd. I think at first you don't really think anything of it, but children are curious, and some children just don't really understand. Like, kids would ask me why my skin is brown, or, you know, like make fun of the way my eyes looked, and say just kind of like mean comments about how I looked, different features that I have that they did not have. And I would say, I mean, as a child, I was pretty shy, and I didn't really understand it. So the way I was raised, it was to, you know, like treat everybody equally. So whenever I experienced being like in this stereotype, I was just so caught off guard. I didn't know how to really accept it, and I didn't know what to think about it. I just always felt a little out of place, and that I just never really fit in, I guess. Like, girls in my class would mature faster than me, and I never had boobs. I still don't have boobs, but I'm okay with it now, girl. But at that time, I was just like, why is everybody else growing boobs and I don't have them? There were features about me that I always kind of didn't like growing up, and I felt a little weird. Like, I had braces at one point, I had glasses, and I just felt so out of place. Like, looking back on it now, I feel like I was trying to be something that I wasn't. I didn't really understand where I came from. My family was amazing. I can't really complain about that, but I just never really understood where I came from. And as I grew older, I wanted to find out more about Korea and my culture. So I started looking into contacting my birth mother. So I reached out to the adoption agency in Korea that I was adopted through, and they told me that they found a location of where my birth parents were. From the paperwork that was sent over with me, it said that my birth parents separated, so then my mother, she like financially couldn't take care of me, so she put me up for adoption. And I don't know whether or not that address that they found was like her or him or what, but it was like a big process. So I had to wait for the agency to go through the Korean police to find their location. Once they found their location, they had to send a telegram, which I was like, this is a process. They had to send a telegram to them basically stating that I wanted to contact them, and they told me that they sent a telegram. I'm not really sure what happened from there, but it's just kind of like an ongoing process for me. I haven't been able to contact my birth mother. I still would like to, you know, because I think it would be great to know where I really came from, to see if she even looks like me. But I did experience some bullying and just feeling like I never really fit in, never really felt like beautiful growing up. And I don't think I really felt comfortable in my own skin until maybe like end of high school or college. I always pretty much knew that I was adopted because my parents told me from a very young age. and it never really felt weird or awkward, you know, until I started to realize that I didn't look like anybody in my school. I've always wanted to go back to Korea just to see what it's like and, you know, like see if I have any other family members. I think anybody who grows up being adopted, they go through things like this where you just have questions and you're not really sure where you came from. Your family is amazing, of course, but you still kind of like in the back of your head wonder what your biological parents look like or how they are, if they're exactly like you. Like you might have some of the same traits, even just for like medical reasons, because I don't really know if I have any hereditary illnesses or what have you. So that's another, you know, important factor that would be great to know. Even growing up, I always, I think in the back of my head, felt kind of like it was something that I had to suppress, and I just felt out of place. I have a Korean middle name. My parents, they still kept my Korean middle name, which I'm thankful for now, but as a child, I felt so, you know, awkward because there were no other Asians in my school or even in the town that I lived in. So I used to be ashamed of having a Korean middle name that I would never really want to tell anybody. And it was just like, if I told kids in my class or my school, they'd be like, oh, that's weird. I just always felt like I was the oddball or I was the different kid. So I think it's really important for families or parents who do adopt kids from other countries to understand that culture and still raise their kids, you know, like surrounded by it. I'm not saying that I was raised in a bad way whatsoever. I started kind of like diving into how to cook Korean food, and I started researching more as I got older, but as a child you're just kind of like, what's going on? Why am I so out of place? As I've grown older, I've become so much more comfortable in my skin, and like I always tell my son the positives of being different, because I think that it's amazing to be different and it's great to stand out. Like you don't want to be like everybody else. So I always try to like instill that in him to let him know that it's cool to be different and be unique and be your own person. That's pretty much it for this first episode. The next one is going to be a little deeper into my story, and it's something that I've had a really hard time with sharing. I honestly have not told many people. Only like a handful of people really close to me know. And like I said before, like me sharing my story has been something that I've put off doing for years. It's something really hard for me to put out there. So I hope you guys take it well, and I hope you enjoy this style of video, just me like being more personal with you and telling you about who I am and where I came from, and the things that I've been through, because I feel like if you are going through some of the things I have been through, maybe it can help you just to know that you're not alone. But yeah, I'll get into that in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Sign up for my 30 Days to Your Summer Body Challenge. This includes a 7-day free trial of the Body by Lynsee app, full weekly workouts, healthy recipes, and my free ultimate healthy eating and lifestyle plan. You will also have a chance to win a 14-day custom training and meal plan with me. All you have to do is sign up at bodybylynsee.com and download the app today.